to go ahead and go to the slides, review the slides, and most of this is taken from the textbook, but I kind of just give you the main points in the slide to help kind of narrow the focus of the topic. But I also share some interesting information about gender and gender being on a continuum. And I share some resources like the Genderbread Person and the Gender Unicorn, which were developed by two different individuals. The Genderbread Person was developed by an individual who tried to kind of explain gender identity comes in many forms and uses the genderbread person to kind of look at the whole person, talk about gender expression, the difference between biological sex and attraction having to do in this person, right? That we are as human beings. We're so unique, and there are many facets of an individual, and gender being one of them. The Gender Unicorn is something that actually was designed and developed by students from a university. And I provided a link there for you to look at. And it is a variation of the gender person, where they're looking at gender identity, gender expression, assigned sex assigned at birth, physical attraction, and emotional attraction. So there's two different ways of looking at it. Then the rest of the chapter will talk about gender parenting, transgender parenting, what the definitions as far as transgender and gender nonconforming children. I have two videos that I really want you to watch. Both of these videos are under 8 minutes. And I want you to watch them because it talks about family's account of having a child who is transgender. Then we'll dive into the role that really schools, peers, and educators take in socializing gender and understanding the new terminology and how gender is more than just male, female, right? Our role and the role of society in understanding and being more supportive. The rest of the chapter will talk about sexual orientation. Again, talking about sexual orientation, how it's different from gender expression and identity, and development of sexual orientation, and then sexual orientation discrimination, and LGBT parenting. Some more information about that. So then there's some questions at the end of the chapter that I want you to ask yourselves. So really take your time going through the chapter, read the chapter, then go through the slides, because I have additional information there that has to do with what was brought up in the chapter. And I have 3 additional readings, and I know it's a lot for an 8-week class, but I think it's really important that you become familiar with the stages of gender development, because many of you, this is your first child development course. Some of you, maybe you're brushing up on child development. And so it's really important for us to understand the stages of gender development in children and how it's been studied for over 50 years, and we're still learning more. So please read this, take your time and read it. How many of us have heard about gender reveal parties? So this is a somewhat of a blog for you to read about why gender reveal parties might not be such a good idea, or at least have you read the information and then decide for yourself, how has your opinion of gender reveal parties changed based on this. And then I have another resource from the American Psychological Association. It's a link to, oops, yeah, here we go. Talking about how the American Psychiatric Association has updated their 5th edition because the term gender dysphoria is controversial for some people. And what does it mean exactly? And why is it in the DSM-5? the pros and cons of having it, and how it relates to ensuring access for care for those that are diagnosed with gender dysphoria. So please read that. And I really want everyone, once they have had a chance to do that, is to watch an hour and 32 minutes with 35 seconds of Gender Revolution, A Journey with Katie Couric. It is a really good, I think, piece on understanding the gender revolution and basically everything that we're learning in the chapter, the current research, scientists, therapists out there, with people in media that you might be familiar with, their accounts of what it's like to understand gender, the fluidity of gender, but also understand trans individuals, and how we as a society understand it. But also, because we're we're looking at it from a Western lens, understand that many other cultures that are not Western cultures look at of gender very differently, not in a binary way. And then I went ahead and embedded the two videos here from the lecture slide in case you don't click on the slides right away and you wanted to watch the videos first. Okay. All right. Then we have our discussion assignment. So you'll be reading another source. It's a quick magazine article from Teaching Tolerance website, Being There for Non-Binary Youth. Sometimes the teen, the LGBTQ, gets overlooked. Please read this. It's a really quick read, but I want you to answer these questions based on what you've learned so far from the material in Module 4, including the videos, to answer these questions. And then you have parts 5 and 6 of your personal socialization assignment, and this is focusing specifically on social class and traits, and the conclusion for your paper. So if you turned in, you're using the flexible due date assignment, that flexible due date option that I have for you, and you haven't turned in previous parts from week 3, then you'll want to turn that in this week and turn parts 5 and 6 next week, or you can turn them in all together. It's up to you. And last but not least, we have our mid-module review coming up. I'm not going to make it available yet until Monday after actually present it during the Zoom hour for those that might have some questions. I'll go ahead and make it available, and you can pop on if you have any questions about it. But it's meant to be a reflection of what you've learned in your personal socialization assignment, and also the past 4 weeks. Okay, so it'll be a combination of that. And that would be the end of your Module 4. Okay, I know this is a long 10-minute video, but I thought it would be important for those that don't have a chance to pop in on Zoom to know what's going on, know that you can always reach out, and I can create another Zoom meeting with you, or we can just connect via the Canvas chat box or email. Have a great week, and if you have any questions, like I said, just don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.